everybody, welcome to my blog .stampwithelaine.com. This week's video features the square pillow thinlits die. You can buy this separately. It coordinates with this stamp set called A Little Something. If you buy them both together as a bundle, you can save 15%. This die set has got so many other different elements in it as well. So not only does it cut your basic pillow box, but there are framelits to cut windows or apertures in. There are little trees for Christmas, autumn leaves, Halloween, and a snowflake there, plus a candy cane. So these two smaller dies, two sets of dies, actually you could cut a frame with that as well. So it's a really nice set to have. Card Club ladies made this treat box. You can see I've cut out the pumpkins here and then reattached them so they're not wasted onto the label itself. At a live stream event, Stampin' Up showed us demos how to make a longer box using this pillow box die. In order to do that, you had to cut 4 pieces of the window, the square pillow box, and then join them together. So essentially you're making 2 boxes. Assemble both boxes and then cut off one end and join them together. Like so. And then you just wrap a piece of DSP round it to hide the join. But then I pondered this and I thought, well, I don't really like the idea of joining that. There must be a more economical way of using this rather than a whole sheet of 12 by 12 cardstock. I started playing, and this is the designer series paper from the new autumn winter catalogue. I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's Into the Woods, possibly. And these lovely wooden elements, I love those. So I made this elongated box out of one sheet of DSP, and I found a way of making this elongated box out of one A4 sheet. So this essentially is what I'm going to show you how to do. Bring our trimmer in, and we're going to cut that. This is just a European A4 sheet size, and I'm going to cut it at 4.5 by, I think that's 8 1/4 across. So 2 bits of 4.5 by 8 1/4, and we've still got that left over. You want to score it at 4 inches, or find the 1/2 inch mark there and score at half an inch. And do the same for both pieces. So butt it up to the 4 inch mark and then score 1/2 inch along. Cardstock I'm using is Hello Honey. So I'm just going to burnish these score lines. And then we're going to do a bit of stamping. Bring some scratch paper in. I'm using Hello Honey Tone on Tone, and this little leaf image from A Little Something stamp set. So I'm just going to stamp randomly. I'm going to stamp in Versamark with the vintage leaf set, and I'm going to be using this here. This time I'm using my Versamark because I want a nice watermark. Oops, I forgot to put my tracing mat underneath so that I can stamp but get better ink coverage. Hopefully you can see where I've stamped in the Versamark. Now we need to cut the aperture. So next thing to do is to bring in our magnetic platform, the base cutting plate, our cardstock, and you need to fold the score line, our die, and this is the part you don't want to cut. So you feed your cardstock through and make sure that the top edge of your cardstock is flush with the die at the top here. I normally place my cutting edge on the top so I can see exactly where I'm cutting. I've buttered the cardstock right to the edge of my framelit, have it face up, and then I only want to put my top cutting plate on, and I only run it through the big shot and stop halfway. So that it just cuts that edge and puts the crease in for the fold. Then I repeat for this side. Remember to change the end and then pop that one underneath the framelit so that it doesn't accidentally cut it. Again, align the top edge of the die to the top of your cardstock. Place it on the base cutting plate. Turn your your platform round, and then you only want it to cut that top edge and make sure that it's put the crease in for the score line. And there you have it. Now you want to cut the opening for this, so you only do it on one piece. Okay, so you know where the fold is. If you just fold that, reinforce the score line on that. Oh yes, I forgot to mention, then you just follow the line of the curve and snip off the end. Do the same with this. Reinforce the closure, the end of the box, the closures for that, so you can see where to place your die. So we'll use the bigger of the two. Now that you've seen my dirty plates, I might as well stick with it. So now I'm going to swap the plates around. This is my bottom cutting plate. Pop that on there and just make sure that it's equidistant, say 2 fingers worth. Pop that on top, and I'm ready to run it through the big shot. Now I've cut the first aperture. So now all I have to do is pop that on and make sure that it's lined up. that's lined up, and then cut the other side and make sure it's equidistant there, and then run it through the big shot the second time to give you that completed opening. I could use the tearing tape, which is new in our catalogue, but I've got so much of this red tape left, I'll just use the red tape. It's got to be used up. So for the inside here, rather than use a window sheet, I'm going to cut this cello bag in half. Pop some more sticky strip . Take the protective layer off the red tape, and then just pop my cello bag in there. Now I'm ready to assemble the rest of the box. Lay it out flat, marry up the two sides. Decorate it. I use this stamp set called Acorny Thank You, which has a coordinating punch. Again, you can buy it as a bundle to save you some money. And what I found was that the punch is a bit tricky to stamp randomly and then punch out your acorn and the top of it. So what I did was I punched out the image in Whisper White cardstock, and this is the thicker one, the thicker Whisper White, rather than the ordinary one that we normally have. It's a different code number. I need chocolate chip ink, and I've got my foam mat underneath my nut. And stamp. Peel it off, stamp the bottom half, and then use Hello Honey to stamp the top. Change stamps. Another way you can do it is cut strips of cardstock that's just long enough to go in there, so you don't waste any cardstock. And punch out. I'm going to cut out the words separately. Bring back my box. We're going to be using this fine tip glue pen. It has two parts to the lid. The first part, you need to unscrew it, the black piece, and there is usually a seal. I've already taken mine off, so you need to remove that seal. Pop the black piece of the screw top back on to the bottle, make sure it's secure. Then this white piece here, you need to unscrew that as well to reveal the glue tip here, which you can see is very, very fine. Pop a tiny bit of glue there to attach to one of my fir cones. And then in order to put it back, you need to place the nib on your finger and then the pin in the lid back through the tip to close it. I'm going to use my dimensionals, cut that in half. And now I'm ready to use this gold cording. It comes in silver as well. So first I'll make a loop and tie my knot, and then loop it over the stem of the acorn. That's much easier than trying to fiddle with it. And then pull it and adjust it to the length you want. I'm ready to attach it with some glue dots onto my box. So there's the normal size one. These are the two we've just made. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you found this tutorial useful. I'll be back with more creations using this same die but with a Christmas theme. Starting September 16th, 2015, that's only next week, I think. My 12 weeks to Christmas countdown video series begins. My plan is to finish the series in the first week of December so that you will be well prepared and can avoid that last minute panic. That's 12 projects which will include quick cards, 3D items, home decor and whatever else I fancy. Au revoir, until next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.